Good morning, Blue Devils. They asked us not to do a live team meeting this week because of some issues with Microsoft. So we'll continue that after spring break. But I wanted to create a little video for you of what I was going to do in our class meeting today. So watch and see if it helps you a little bit with your work on geometry and also with statistics. So this is our most missed geometry test question. So if you missed this one, take a look. If you did not miss it, great. I hope that this makes sense to you. So we want the area of the shaded region, which we can see we have a rectangle here and a little half circle that we need to take away from that. So our rectangle area would be 16 times 4, which is equal to 64. And here's where I think a lot of students had some issues. The 4 right here would be the diameter of the circle, which means that the radius, what's in red here, would be 2. So I think that's where a lot of students, I think, had some issues. So let's take a look at that. So our half circle is 3.14 times 2 times 2, but since it's only half the size, I would divide by 2, and that is equal to 6.28. I just want the shaded portion, the shaded region, I need to subtract those two. So 64 minus 6.28 is 57.72, or approximately 58. So that's where our right answer comes from right there. All right, if you have any more questions about your test for geometry, please let me know. A lot of you have finished and gotten your corrections into me already. All right, our next unit, guys, is statistics. So measures of center and variation. So these are words that tend to get mixed up in students' minds. I want to make sure that they're clear to you. So mean, median, and mode, and we're going to do an example together. So mean is when we add the numbers together and then divide by how many numbers there are. So if I go ahead and find my mean, I can add all these together, and I threw in a 0 here at the end because that tends to throw students off. The 0 still counts. It's still part of the data set. So if I added all those together, I would end up with 418 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 0 counts. And that is equal to about 69.6 repeating, or about 70% if we're going to say what your grade would be. Okay, for median, key is to put them in order from least to greatest before you find your middle number. So I'm going to put that right down below this. A lot of students, even my best students, tend to forget to put them in order, so make sure you remember that. So 0, 75, 80, 85, 88, and 90. And now we're going to find our middle number. So some students say it's like ping pong going back and forth. Now we end up with 2 in the middle. I can't just choose one. I've got to go in between those two. So how do we do that? All right, remember, you're basically finding the mean of those two numbers. So we're going to add those two together. 80 plus 85 divided by two numbers is 82.5. Notice I did parentheses there. That's important. You got to add before you divide by 2. So 82.5 is our median for that one. So 82.5. Okay, all right, and our mode. So there is no number that repeats here. So that means that there is no mode. So there's a couple things that can happen with mode. So just keep this in mind. With mode, if it's the most repeated number, there could be no mode. There could be more than one mode. That's true if one or more number repeats the same amount of times. Or there could just be one. So keep in mind there's a couple of options. There could be no mode, more than one mode, or just one. So just watch for that. One more thing I want to point out on this screen is that this number right here, this 0, has kind of a special name. So we call that 0 an outlier. Outliers are numbers that are either way big or way small compared to the rest of the data. So this outlier, this 0, if you imagine it was a grade, you see how it's bringing the mean down. So it brought down your average to a 70, whereas your median was still 82.5. So you're going to see a couple of different activities in this unit that ask you about outliers and what it affects. So just in general, you need to remember that outliers affect the mean. So outliers affect the mean, so just keep that in mind. All right, let's see, next slide. 2 words that you're going to see as well in this unit. And again, they're easy to mix up, so I want to make sure that you hear them from me. Biased and unbiased. So a bias survey is not fair. It doesn't represent the population that you're trying to represent or survey. Unbiased is fair. So let's do a couple of examples to see if you can kind of understand what I mean. So if I was going to survey people maybe about their favorite food, if I surveyed every 5th person entering, let's say, our school building, this would be an unbiased survey. In other words, it's fair. So every student coming in has a chance to be chosen. I don't have time to survey everybody. I'm just going to survey every 5th person and ask them what their favorite food is. So that way I get a variety of different students, males and females, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. So that would be fair, unbiased. If I only surveyed my friends, that's not fair. So I'm leaving out a bunch of other people that don't have a chance to be chosen if I only survey my friends. If I put everybody's names in a hat and then drew out so many names, that can be unbiased. I got to make sure I pick enough. I can't just pick 1 or 2, but everybody has a chance to be chosen. So that would be fair. If I only survey volunteers, people that are willing to take my survey, that's probably biased because I've only surveyed the people who are willing to participate or are close to me. So that's also known as a convenient sample. So you're going to hear a little bit more about that in a video. All right, hopefully that helps a little bit. Again, those are easy to mix up, so see if you can kind of get those straight in your mind. Okay, one more sample of what you're going to see. A lot of surveys involve a prediction, which takes us back to proportions like we did in one of our previous units. So got an example to help you with that. Saeed went to the grocery store and was asked to determine the best feature of the store. His choice was the bakery. He was the only one out of the 10 surveyed who chose the bakery. If there are 320 people in the store, how many would choose the bakery? So this is a prediction. We don't know exactly, but the person who was doing the survey surveyed 10 people, and Saeed was 1 out of 10 that chose the bakery. So we're basically making a prediction. If 1 out of 10 chose the bakery, how many, that's our X, out of 320 might say the same. So see, this is a little proportion. Remember how to cross multiply? So multiply these two together, right? And then divide by 10. And your answer would be 32. So about 32 people would probably say the same. Now, they also are going to throw in some percent proportions. So you need to remember how to set those up as well. So this question says, what percent did not say the bakery? So if Saeed was 1 out of 10 that did say the bakery, that means 9 out of 10 did not say bakery. They said something else. So to make a percent proportion, remember we do x over 100 and cross multiply. So this would be 90%. All right, see if this helped you a little bit, and we'll continue our live class meetings after spring break. And stay in touch if there's anything I can do to help you. Hope you're doing well. Miss you guys.